Hi guys, welcome to another tutoring session, and today we're going to be looking at completing the squares. So usually you would apply this when you are, let's say for instance, you are solving or you are drawing a parabolic graph and you need to use the turning points, or you need to find the turning points. So the completion of the squares, it assists in such type of questions. So sometimes you might find that, let's say you are given a question in the standard form a equal to a into x plus p all squared plus q. So these are the values that you use to find your turning points. Now I'm going to show you how do you complete the square on this trinomial such that it can be written in this form. Of course, in this instance, it's not an equation. That's why it does not have two sides. It only has one side. It's an expression. So I'm going to show you how to do it using this way. But this is the same principle. Even if it's an equation, it's the same principle that you would apply. So let's begin. First and foremost, what you need to do, you need to ensure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So if it's not 1, it means you need to divide everything by that coefficient of x squared so that you can then make the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So in this case, it means we're going to need to divide everything by the 2 so that we can remove the coefficient from 2 to 1. So if we take out a common factor of 2, it means we'll be left with x squared plus 2x minus 4. Now you have removed the coefficient of x squared here to a 1. Now the next step that you need to do, you need to look at the coefficient of x, which if you were to apply the quadratic formula, the general formula, ax squared plus bx plus c. So we're focusing on the b now. We were focusing on the a, we're removing it, that's what we did here. So now we're focusing on the middle term, which is the coefficient of x. So what we need to do is, we need to divide the coefficient of x by 2 or multiply by half and then square it. So this is what is going to happen. So it means you'll have x squared plus 2x plus, now we take the coefficient of x, which is 2, we multiply it by half, and then we square it. So because we have introduced this expression or this term, we must remove it again. So we must have a negative sign of it. So it means we'll have 2 multiplied by half all squared, then minus 4. So now we have a new expression. So what we have done here, basically we were turning this into a perfect trinomial. So what does it mean? If it's a perfect trinomial, it means, maybe if we simplify it further, so it means we'll have x squared plus 2x plus, if you simplify this, this is 2 times half, which is 1, 1 squared. It means it will be 1 minus the 1 minus 4. If you simplify this, you still have the same term as this one because the 1 and the 1, they cancel out. So you still have x squared plus 2x minus 4. Now, this is a perfect trinomial. So which means we can factorize it. If we factorize it, we will have, so basically you take the square root of x squared, which is x, and then you take the square root of 1 with its sign, which is 1. If it was, let's say this was minus 2, it means here we're going to have minus 1. So the sign of b determines what sign goes into this term. And then now it will be all squared. So what we did is, now we took the square root of x squared, took the square root of 1, and then we put it in the same bracket, and then you square it. If you multiply this together, or you expand these brackets, you will find this term. So after this, now we're left with the minus 1 and the minus 4, which means it will be equal to minus 5. Now you can multiply everything out by the 2. Which means you'll have 2 into x plus 1 all squared minus 5. Minus 10. because 2 times minus 5, so it will be minus 10. So you see now we have written this question in this form: a into x plus p all squared plus q. I want you to try this example using this equation, the expression ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. I want you to complete the square here. And if you do it rightly, you will be able to determine the quadratic equation. Remember the quadratic equation? The one that says x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. If you complete this correctly, you are supposed to get this answer. I want you to try that and see if you get this answer. Thank you. Proving how the quadratic equation is derived by completing the square of this expression or this equation. So first things first, whenever you are completing the squares, the first thing you must do is you must ensure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So here we have the a, which is the coefficient of x squared. So we need to get rid of it. How do we do that? We divide everything by the a. So in other words, if we divide by a, we'll have x squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals to 0. Now the next thing we need to do is let's take out the term that does not contain an x to the other side, which would mean that we'll have x squared plus b over ax equals to minus c over a. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to look at the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x, which in this case is b over a, we need to multiply it by half and then square it. So in other words, we'll have x squared plus b over ax plus b over a times half all squared. Now, because we have introduced this term on this side, we must also introduce it on the left hand side. So in other words, we will have minus c over a plus b over a times 1 over 2 all squared. So now that we have divided the coefficient of x by half and squared, this becomes a perfect trinomial. So in other words, this is the same as x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared. If we multiply out that, this is b times 1, which is b, a times 2, which is 2a, and when we square that, it means we'll have b squared over 4a squared, which will be equal to the same answer this side. It will be b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. Now we have created a perfect square here. It means we can take the square root of x squared, which is x, plus, if we take the square root of this term, the square root of b squared is b, the square root of 4a squared is 2a, and then we square it. Now, this other side, we can take the LCD here. When you take an LCD, our LCD, it's 4a squared. So if we take 4a squared as our LCD, how many times does 4a squared goes here? It goes 1 times. 1 times b squared, which would be b squared, minus, how many times does a go into 4a squared? It goes 4a times. 4a times c, it will be 4ac. Now we need to get rid of this square root here. So when we take out the square root both sides, we'll have x equal to ba, x plus ba equals to, when you take the square root, it means we'll have plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Now you understand that from the law of surds, if you have a fraction under the same square root, then you can put each numerator and the denominator to each square root. In other words, the numerator can take this its own square root, and 4a squared can have its own square root, which means we will then have x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus, if we take out the square root, so okay, let me just write it. It means we'll have b squared minus 4ac over square root of 4a squared. Now, this means we will have, this will be, if we take out the square root of 4a squared, it will be 2a. So in other words, we'll have x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now remember, we're solving for x. So if we're solving for x, it means we must take this term to the other side. So when we take this term to the other side, it will become minus b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now we have two terms here. 2a and 2a is the LCD or LCM. So when we take out that common denominator, 2a, how many times does 2a go into 2a? Once. 1 times minus b, it will be minus b. Plus or minus, how many times does 2a go here? It goes once. 1 times this, it gives us the whole thing, square root of b squared minus 4ac. Does this look familiar? This is where the quadratic equation comes from. So this is the quadratic equation that you're going to be using whenever you are solving trinomials or you are factorizing trinomials. And for instance, let's say you are lazy to think of factors. This is the go-to or the escape equation that can assist you to find the values of x. I hope you learned something. Okay, I forgot what to say.
See you next time.
See you next time, and hopefully you have more questions. If you have any questions, please let us know, or if you have struggles, contact us for more lessons, one-on-one lessons. Comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you.